Welcome to the Seat 14 podcast, a different perspective on college basketball told by those who lived it. Join us as we bring you insider views, analysis, breakdowns, and predictions from one of the most storied programs in the country, from someone who saw it all from the end of the bench, the 14th seat. In association with the Field of 68 and alongside producer Jordan Barber, I'm your host, Todd Lanter, and this is Seat 14. Welcome back for another episode of the Seat 14 podcast, episode 8. Today is Thursday, January 6th, 2022. Welcome to the new year.
First episode of the new year.
First episode of the new year. We are here at Goodfellas Pizzeria in Manchester, the Distillery District of Lexington, Kentucky. We are here on behalf of our sponsor tonight, RD1 Spirits, William Tarr Whiskey. We have Barry Brinegar here along with us to talk a little bit about what we're sipping. Why don't you tell us a little bit about what we got here?
Yeah, John, thanks so much. It is a pleasure to be here, and we're in the Lexington Distillery District, and how much fun is it that we're sitting in a vintage rick house, you know, the Pepper Distillery here, and so, you know, I'm part of the brand RD1 Spirits, and we're so thankful that Goodfellas allowed us to come in here and tape today. But the Distillery District houses 3 different distilleries, 3 different breweries, and we're part of this district. And so my partners and I, you know, one of the partners is University of Kentucky football coach Mark Stoops. He's a majority owner. And Mike Tedderton and Marcia Couch as part of the Key Investments, they're majority owners. And we're fortunate to be able to resurrect Lexington, Kentucky's first federally registered distillery.
That's absolutely.
So, RD1, and so we've got RD1 here stenciled on the glass, and we're excited tonight. Goodfellas hosted us, and we were able to do tastings, and we did cocktails, specialty cocktails. Terry Keith, if you've not been down here, the Goodfellas bartenders, they do fabulous jobs, and they make really elevated cocktails. So we got a couple of cocktails that we had that we enjoyed for the evening.
Absolutely. And you got the Southern Belle right now, I believe? Yeah. And then what's the Manhattan one called? The City Slicker?
City Slicker.
I believe. I've tried both of them tonight, actually, already. I went with the neat 114 proof. For this particular shot, so they took me out of the RD1 glass. I got it sitting over there to take home with me. So thank you for that. But you know, what is it? What do y'all? First off, congratulations to Coach Mark Stoops, majority shareholder in the new whiskey business here, on the bowl victory over Iowa down in Orlando over the weekend. Unbelievable game. We're going to dive into a little bit of that later. But why don't you tell us a little bit more about what your goals and what you're trying to get into coming forward here?
You know, when we got together, we recognized that Lexington had an opportunity to help drive the bourbon tourism to Lexington. What we found is, you know, this $8.6 billion tourism industry to Kentucky, Lexington was really missing out. You know, consumers would come in and they might stop off, but we really don't have an anchor to help drive and keep that bourbon tourism. So what we want to do is we want to partner with other local businesses, distilleries, breweries, and help make this a destination location. Whether you come here first or at the end of your tour, we want consumers to recognize Lexington has a lot to offer. We have a lot of history. James Pepper and the Ashland Distillery, which was founded in 1865, coexisted on Manchester Street. So with the knockoff here is this is Manchester Reserve, kind of an ode to where we're located here in the Distillery District, but we want to help drive tourism to come and visit Lexington, Kentucky. Absolutely.
Well, what you're doing is absolutely fantastic. You have a phenomenal product. The marketing is fantastic as well. Ode to you there, or credit to you there, I should say, for you know, putting together such a great campaign. And we're happy to be a part of it. Whatever we can do to try to kind of push the industry forward. What's good for bourbon, and obviously Kentucky is good for us. I love the you know, the dynamic that we have between, you know, bourbon and horse racing in the bluegrass state here, and how well we've been able to tie that into what the university's successes have been on the playing field and on the basketball court, which is what kind of we focus on here with C14. So thank you from the bottom of my heart for letting us be a part of it. We look forward to what hopefully will be a long-lasting relationship, and you know, We're going to consume this responsibly for the rest of the evening. But this is a fantastic small batch. What's your thoughts just so far? I know we got to enjoy the game together last night. Disappointing loss on the road at LSU, and we're going to dive into the analytics of it a little bit later through the show. But what's your feelings on where you think this team is? Do you think, is it too much of a shot? Where do you think the normal fan base feels about where we stand right now?
Well, first of all, I'm going to echo what Cal says is, you guys are crazy. BBN, we have such lofty expectations, and I love where we are. A loss, it is a loss, but we're a championship team. We understand how to play in the tournament, and he's going to turn this team around. We've got so much great potential. LSU, they fought hard. We lost a couple of key players. What are you going to do?
Yeah. You're
going to take the loss. You're going to learn from it, and we're going to face our next opponent and just move forward.
Yeah.
So I'm big blue for life. So I see us going really far in the
Absolutely.
tournament.
Well, we look forward to what this season's going to bring, and like you said, they cut the head off to the snake. I mean, we had no point guard for 36 minutes of the game, and it's tough to close out on the road in the SEC, especially without a point guard, especially with a young team. And we get everybody's Super Bowl. We get their best shot. So it's tough to do. So let's give them a break. They'll be okay. They'll bounce back. We got Georgia on Saturday, and then we're on the road at Vandy again. That shouldn't be too tough of a test for us. So hopefully we can resolve. I have to assume they're going to have some lofty expectations after the couple practices that they're going to have to suffer through for the weekend. So any thoughts on the loss from last night before we dive in?
No, I want more 40-point wins. I want to get back to those.
Fair enough. Well, we can save it for Twany. Final thoughts before we let you go on the just bourbon industry in general. What do we look for? What do you like? Here, let's go this route. Go this route.
Yeah.
We don't really have a game plan with this show. We like to kind of just spitball because I want it to come from the heart. What is I was looking here at the mash bill.
Yeah.
What is your flavor profile that you prefer with a good whiskey?
All right, so this is what I'm going to say, and it is my patent answer.
Okay.
My favorite whiskey is the one I'm drinking, and my second favorite whiskey is free.
I like that. That's good.
Right?
Yeah.
It makes sense. But this is what I'll tell you. I'm a high proof guy, and I like to taste the barrel. So what I like to do is let me proof it down. If it's that that 135 proof, then I'm going to add a little bit of water to let it open up and get to that proof level that fits my flavor profile. And our flavor profiles change during the day, during the seasons. So you may like a high proof one day, and you might be in one of those moods that you want to sit around and sip on a 90 proof whiskey. So I really don't like to say this is my flavor profile, but what I will say is that I like outside the narrow flavor wheel. So I do like a high rye, and I like a high proof. So this really kind of fits the bill for me.
You've got your 8-year rye is 37% corn, 51% rye? Okay, and then we have what, a 75% corn here in front of us?
Yeah. And so what you find here is that even though in the 114 proof, it does have 60% of it's the rye mash bill, it's still a high corn in that rye mash bill. So you're getting, and it's an 8-year rye, so instead of getting those young flavor notes of grass and spearmint, you're getting some of the more mature baking spices. And what you find in this 114, it drinks like a bourbon.
Yeah.
But when you proof it down to the 96.4, it drinks like a rye.
Yeah.
It's the darndest thing, but that 96.4 proof, as you've seen in the cocktails here, it works great in a classic cocktail. But for me, I like the 114 proof. If I'm going to do anything, I might put a ball of ice in it and let it proof down just a little bit, but I like drinking the high proof stuff.
I do too, and I got some friends that like the high proof with the higher corn because of the sweetness. I want to like you said, I like tasting the barrel. So we've spoken in the last couple of weeks about really last night mostly about getting me licensed, I think is the right word, as a bourbon steward.
Certified bourbon steward.
Certified as a bourbon steward. So we're going to dive down that road so I can speak a little bit more intelligently about it. But for right now, this is my I'm gonna take my advice from him. So thank you so much for having us. I prefer the blue and white label here.
It really brings me back to UK, and a little bit of reveal here. We're going to come out with I'm hoping, knock on wood, a Citrus Bowl release.
That'll be great.
Thank you, UK. Thank you, Coach. All the things that you're doing. We really appreciate you, but we want to have a commemorative bottle that we release. So more to come on that. Follow our social channels and see when that release comes out.
Where can they follow you?
They can follow us on Facebook at WMTAR, and then on Instagram, RD1 Spirits. And, of course, our website is rd1spirits.com.
Absolutely. And we'll put that information down in the show notes. Thank you so much for for coming on here today with us and for having us here at your event. It's been an absolute blast, and we're going to continue to enjoy ourselves throughout the night. Obviously, by the time this gets released, since it's not live, this event won't be going on, but they do carry William Tarr down here at Goodfellas Distillery or Goodfellas Pizzeria in the Distillery District in Lexington, Kentucky. So come down here, check them out, pick them up on the shelves. They're available. We can get them now.
You can get them.
Kind of. Good. They're getting limited though. It's catching fire.
Once they're gone, all you have is regret.
Exactly. So thank you. We appreciate it.
All right, Todd.
From our sponsors at William Tarr and RD1 Spirits, we're going to go ahead and take a break, and when we come back, we'll welcome in Twany Beckham for episode 8 of the C14 podcast. Stick with us. Let me take a second to tell you guys a little bit about our partners over at Bet Rivers Sportsbook. If you haven't signed up with Bet Rivers yet, now's the time because they are offering a $250 match bonus for your first deposit. What sets them apart, though, is that they require just one playthrough to turn your bonus into cash money. With their new Rush Pay instant approval, withdrawing your winnings is safer, more secure, and more reliable. With basketball season tipping off, get in on the action by going to betrivers.com today or by downloading the Bet Rivers iOS app. Must be 21 years or older. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. That's 1-800-GAMBLER. Welcome back to the C14 podcast. Joining us now at Goodfellas Pizzeria, Twany Beckham. Welcome back,
What's up, my brother? Appreciate you having me, man.
Absolutely.
I appreciate it.
Absolutely. Ratings were so high last time you came on, we had to have you back. We're going to talk SEC today. We're going to talk UK standings, but we're going to talk SEC. I want to know your thoughts after a hard-fought loss on the road at LSU without a point guard, without our best player on the floor, Oscar, late in the game.
Ty was
struggling.
Issues.
Yeah, I'm sorry. Ty is who I meant to say. But Oscar obviously having a lot of foul issues in the first half. Didn't get as many minutes as we're used to him seeing. Is this a problem? Is this a red flag this early?
Well, it's kind of hard to judge because the head of the snake got taken out of the game early on. He only played 4 minutes. And that's the guy that really controls the tempo for our team. So him going out, so practically he didn't play the whole game. So it's kind of hard to judge. But anyway, going down to LSU, playing a road game, no matter where it is in the SEC, is always tough. And not having some of your top guys just made it even harder for us to win. But even though, we didn't have our guys, when we still had a chance, we were right there at the end to win.
Yeah. So
where do we rank playing in LSU versus other SEC road environments? You guys have been there.
In my opinion, it's always tough playing in LSU. I mean, it feels like the crowd is right on top of you. It's a really compact arena.
Yep.
But there's some other arenas in the SEC when the teams are good that I think this is tougher. To play it in LSU.
There's tougher places, but like he said,
sure.
I'm gonna piggyback his statement. LSU is very, it's vertical. Like the lower arena is very like this. So they're looking down. They're right there. They're loud. They're rowdy. On Saturday they had the court renamed after Dale Brown, and they had a bowl game at 9 that kicked off at 9 p.m. in the Texas Bowl against Kansas State in Houston. So the campus was rowdy anyway. They can drink there. Students were getting rowdy for the bowl game. They were rowdy for the renaming of the floor.
Kentucky's in town. So they're going to be rowdy no matter what.
Yeah, and it's a tough spot. I mean, like I said, the fans are right on top of you. They're literally looking over you, and they're relentless down there.
Yeah.
They're passionate about sports. The football team sets the precedent, but the student section shows up for basketball too. It's a tough place to be in, and LSU's not a bad team. They're much worse than I thought they were, if you want me to be honest.
Offensively.
I knew they were bad offensively. Their goal is to muck up the game. They want to muck up. They know they're not talented enough to put the ball in the basket enough to beat you at your game, so they force you to play theirs, right? They knew that there's no way they can run with us. They can't. They're not as athletic. They can't shoot with us. In fact, they were going to have trouble guarding Oscar in the paint. And I actually think that LSU's front court is – we talked about this before. LSU's front court – you go ahead and say what you said before we got on air.
Well, I think LSU's front court is not necessarily the strongest in the league, but what they do have is the supporting cast behind them in the backcourt to really start to make things problematic for a team like Kentucky that is, as of late especially, has been running everything through the 5. But
they're not going to outshoot you, right? No. They're not gonna run you to death. They're going to muck up your offense enough to force you into their game, and
make it a weird
I think they're the best defensive team in the country.
It was, they're very highly ranked defensively, but it's a Will Wade coach team who takes his, he's a product of Shaka Smart. They're defensive minded. Their goal is to get in there. This is a silly thing to say. You win a basketball game by scoring more points than the other team, but they're not trying to outscore you. They're trying to keep you from playing your game and just muck it up enough that they take you out of your rhythm, and hopefully they can squeak by, and that's exactly what happened. I mean, I predicted I think I predicted 73-70 Kentucky win.
You thought?
I'm saying I predicted a low-scoring game.
Yeah.
And it was 65-60. That is insanely. I think they're forcing teams into. I think their team average is like 58 points. The opposing team scoring 58 points. That's insane.
That's insane.
We're talking about a Division I team in the SEC, and they're holding teams to 58 points.
And you got to look at it, man. They got great size all across the board, so which allows them to switch.
Mm-hmm. That's what I felt.
They can switch everything, and it's like don't drop off. So they switch in kind of somebody that's quote-unquote a big onto a guard. They can still guard the guard.
Yeah.
That's outstanding when you think of college basketball.
Yeah.
Having a team that can switch at all 5 positions, but still not give up being dominated in the paint by somebody like Oscar because he wasn't able to stay on the floor.
I mean, the irony is that's what usually makes our team so good.
Right.
Is that we can switch those. Go ahead.
They were truly disruptive. Especially once we lost our strongest ball handlers.
Yeah.
I mean, just watching, I felt how restricted that Kellen and Davion were with those guys all up in their business. You know what I mean? You could tell that this team prides itself on its defense. What teams does that remind you guys of from your careers at UK?
Kentucky related?
Yeah.
Or opposition?
Both.
What do you think?
I would say
were you there with DeAndre Liggins?
Yes, I was, but that was the year that I transferred in, so I didn't get to play.
But you saw him up close. He was a monster.
He was a monster defensively. He literally changed the game for opposing teams on the defensive end.
I remember seeing an interview with him where he said, I want to be the type of defender that the offensive me doesn't want guarding me. And that kind of resonated with me because that's, I'm not a defensive – I wasn't, at least before getting to Kentucky, a defensive-minded person. Obviously, don't look at me like that. Every defensive play in practice, he'd be like, Coach, my back, Todd, come get me. He hated defense.
You wasn't there the year before.
Yeah,
I was a defensive disruptor.
You were.
That's what I held my hat on.
You're a big dude with long arms.
Listen, my senior year though, I was injured, so you had to kind of step in and help me out a little bit, bro.
I got you.
Yeah, for sure.
Mm-hmm. But the point being is Dre saying that kind of it resonated with me because I realized that that's his goal. You want to be that gnat that's just annoying that the offense can't get rid of and can't get off of you. Severe does a fantastic job of persevering through that type of pressure, and then he turns around and creates that pressure on the defensive end. With that said, him being out obviously hurt us. Like you said it best, cut off the head of the snake. We weren't able to keep the rhythm that we're used to. I don't think it was a dirty screen. Obviously, it was an unfortunate play. Should have been called out. Loud arena on the road. That kind of thing happens. It's a contact sport. Prayers up for him. I hope he's okay. I haven't heard anything.
Prayers up to him, man. I think I saw a statement from Coach that he's day-to-day.
Okay. I'm sure he'll bounce good. He's a tough kid. But I
hope he gets to play against Georgia, though. I know he don't want to miss that game.
I know he does.
So you already know he's going to do whatever he can possibly.
He will be back.
He's going to be ready for that game.
If he's not in concussion protocol, and it was a scary scene, watching him helped off the floor by the training staff and those guys. But they're fantastic. They'll do their job and get him ready to go. But obviously he's been the leader, the extension of the coaching staff on the floor, if you will, that's huddling guys up After timeout or after free throws, dead balls, whatever, he's huddling the guys up, making sure everybody's staying on the same page, and we were very disrupted, as you put it. And that's what Will Wade's teams go out to try to do is disrupt us.
I feel like they take on the mentality. Every single player on a Will Wade coach team suddenly becomes that defensive disruptor.
Absolutely.
Because they just all hang their hat on it. He's obsessed with that.
Yeah. And like you said, he's he comes from the Shaka Smart tree.
Yeah. That's what it is.
And that's kind of how his teams hung their hat on. It's disruptive, pressing you, getting all in your face and your junk.
What do y'all remember from your playing days? Teams that going into a game, you'd be like, all right, it's going to be one of those types of games. It's going to be ugly.
It was usually based on the coaching, the staff that we were facing. Do you remember one specifically? I mean, I know we talk about, so
it was always, for me, to me, the toughest place to play in the SEC, especially while wearing the Kentucky jersey, is at Arkansas.
Really?
It's a tough spot.
19,000 people. They right on you. They're loud. I mean, it's probably the only thing going on in the town that night. And it's hard to win there.
It's tough.
He just shit all over Arkansas.
I've never been.
I didn't. I just said it's the only thing probably going on in the town that night.
It's the biggest thing going on in the town.
Yeah,
I've never been reamed harder than when I made a comment about Starkville, Mississippi. Do you remember that conversation we had on the bus in Starkville? Do you remember that?
No,
I'm not going to go into it. Then.
Okay.
We'll have to do that. We'll have to save that story for another day.
Put a pin in that one.
But Mississippi State fans lit me up for that one. Probably well deserved. But,
that's a tough place to play too.
The cowbells I've seen
when they're good. When Mississippi State's good, it's hard to go in there
and you spent time there.
Spent 2 years there.
Yeah.
When they're good, it's hard to go in there and win.
Yeah.
When they're good.
It's a tough place, and they're passionate. Like they don't even. It doesn't matter what sport it is. They don't want to lose. I've been down there to see Kentucky play a football game on the road when we beat them, actually. I guess it was right after I got done playing, so 2016 or so. But it's a madhouse. They're passionate.
And they love to beat Kentucky.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, those people down there love to beat Kentucky.
Did you have any clapback from the fan base when you transferred?
Not necessarily when I transferred, but, I got into the kind of the exchange with Coach Stansbury.
Yeah.
Which we're good now.
Yeah.
But, he had said some things about me as I was getting interviewed that week as we were going back to play Mississippi State. A lot of the focus in the media was on me because I transferred from there, and Stansbury hit back in the media and said something about, my lack of playing time and he's not really worried about me as a player. Something along the lines of that. And so I said something back, and then it kind of got blown up into this thing.
Well, that's what they do.
Yeah, so.
It's
but I learned my lesson, too. Like, you know what I mean? They just, I kind of learned from that. Look, I played there. Coach is great. We've seen each other after that. We've both apologized, and, it is what it is.
Yeah, well, that kind of thing with the media, especially, is a snowball effect. They have to have a narrative to talk about. I mean, we know that better than anybody. But, one thing we want to do on this show is keep it real, but also focus on what's important. And your years there developed you as a player and got you capable of coming to a school like this and earning a role.
Yeah, I loved it there. I tell people all the time, I love kind of the university atmosphere and the community more than I did playing ball there. I love playing ball there, but the people there, I mean, that Southern hospitality is amazing. I mean, people cooked. I mean, the community cooked for you.
Yeah.
The restaurants there were amazing. Just the Southern hospitality, man, I loved it.
Big community guy.
A big community
Twany
guy.
Beckham, confirmed community.
Yeah, so I connected with people in the community there. And I still have.
He made a career of connecting with the community.
For sure.
True that.
For sure, I still have people in that community still that I reach out to. Facebook, text messages, and whatever. Still stay connected with me and want to see me do well because of the relationships I've built.
It's the way you treat them, yeah. It's all about that. So I want to talk about one more school before we take a break. LSU lost their first game of the year, only game of the year, I guess, now that they've beat us. They got down 18-1 on the road at number 11, Auburn. Also not an easy place to play. Much smaller arena, very compact. I feel like we're saying that about all the road games in the SEC. One of the biggest things.
Listen, everywhere is not Rupp, okay?
It's not.
Everybody's not 24,000.
It's
so
not.
We can say that about a lot of.
But Auburn is very small. Like the arena is much more. When we say LSU's on top of you, I mean like it's vertical. Like they're kind of looking down on you. Like you feel attacked by the the fan base. But in Auburn, it's much more of a tighter. Like it feels more like a high school gym. Go ahead.
But the thing at Auburn is it seems like it's half UK fans. I think they have like a veterinary school there that a lot of students from UK go to.
Yep, they do. They have a huge vet program.
Yeah, so when you run out, it's like you hear the UK chants, the BBN chants, and you hear those during the game.
Yeah.
So it's like almost like a neutral site game plan. I mean, it's loud when Auburn scores, of course, but when we score, it's just loud too.
Yeah, but as far as the LSU matchup, LSU going on the road there, again, Auburn was number 11. LSU was, I think, 21 at the time. That number might have been adjusted after the game. I can't remember if they were in the top 25 before that game or not.
They were.
But they got down 18-1 from the jump. So just, quick tidbit about, how like that's tough to do. Even if you're the better team, if you start off down 18-1 and get punched in the mouth like that, the resilience to be able to come back and even make it a game is tough to do no matter who you're playing against. No matter who you're
playing, for sure.
So playing against the team that's number 11 in the country, again, rankings are what they are this early in the season, but here we are in SEC play, a team in LSU that struggles scoring the balls on the road, down 18-1 from the jump. They cut it back within like 6, and then they had 3 consecutive turnovers for baskets on the other end. Obviously, it got out of reach. But is Auburn that good? Like, do we really think – like, I want to get into the how good is the SEC? Like, where do we think – seriously, where do we think that – if we're to win out the SEC, we beat the Auburn's team, we beat Alabama, we beat Tennessee. Who else are they saying is good? Bama. If we beat those teams, is that enough to thrust us into the upper echelon of the country? Do you think?
What do you think?
I mean, at a certain point, we got to start winning games.
But that's what I'm saying. If we're able to beat these teams that they're saying are highly ranked, where do we think that they compare? Because obviously you got teams like, who's playing great right now? We got.
It's kind of a tough question too, because you got to think about the ACC.
That's what I'm saying.
1 or 2 teams.
Yeah,
I think maybe
but there's only 2.
There's only 2.
There's only 2.
So I mean, we got what, 4?
Mm-hmm.
So if you look at it in terms of rankings, you got to say that the SEC is pretty decent, right?
Yeah.
But in my opinion, I think we got a good solid 4 or 5 teams that could potentially make a deep run in the tournament.
But I mean, with Kentucky typically being the powerhouse they are, and granted it was like an all systems failure last night. Like, I don't know how much stock you really put into that game, but typically Kentucky's the gatekeeper at the very top.
Mm-hmm.
I don't see that this year. As of now, I don't see that. So in my opinion, it's wide open.
I'm trying to find. I'm going to pull up real quick while y'all go on about the where how many we got. I think we got 5.
But I think Auburn's pretty good. They just got the Flanagan kid back. They got potentially the best player in the country.
Yeah, I mean, he might be the number 1 overall pick.
Jabari, everybody saying maybe the number 1 overall pick. And they saying, I heard somebody on ESPN the other day compare him. They didn't say he was him, but they compared him, his skill set to Kevin Durant's.
Mm-hmm.
So he's going to be a matchup.
That's high praise right there.
Yeah, it was somebody on ESPN I heard, but so that's going to be a matchup nightmare in itself. So
we don't have a guy like that this year. We don't have a wing who's we really
with that type of skill set.
I think we struggle creating our own shots. I think we're good at creating shots for each other. I think where we struggle is ISO ball. Just go get a bucket when we need one.
Yeah. So I'll give us one more tidbit about the SEC before we go to break real quick. Georgia, this is the stat I was looking for. Georgia has received 22 votes in the AP basketball poll this coming week, right? Here's their last 4 games. George Mason lost 80-67.
Oh.
Western Carolina won 85-79. So they won by 6 after a 13-point loss to George Mason. Then East Tennessee State lost 86-84 at home. All these are at home. Then Gardner-Webb lost 77-60. So 13-point loss, 2-point loss, and 17-point loss, and a 6-point win over Western Carolina in their last 4 games. And they got 22 votes in the AP top 25. And that's who we got on Saturday.
Who is voting for that?
I don't know. But my point is that's who we got on Saturday. To your point, I think that the SEC is very top heavy. I think there are 2 or 3, maybe 4, but really 2 or 3 teams that I think are capable of being top 25 teams come March. I think that we're one of them. But when you got teams like that are getting votes, for top 25 and losing to teams like, I mean, that's ridiculous. That stretch of 4 games is absurd. Like, the three of us could pick 2 people up out of the bar out here and go out there and give a run.
Oh, man, it'd be crazy here.
And those teams are getting votes for the top 25. So I posed that question again. What do we have to do to prove that we're good enough?
We have to win. To your question, we have to win those games. I mean, so if the SEC is top heavy, and when we get our select few shots at those teams, then we have to win. Like he said, we cannot lose those games.
Yeah.
And we just missed one.
Yeah, we just missed one. But going on the road, that's going to be difficult, right? Mm-hmm. Going on the road to win in those places at any year, no matter what the talent level is, because of the atmosphere at those universities, is going to be tough. But with the margin for error is very slim this year. Yeah. And we have to win those. We have to win those road games to not only give us confidence, but to understand, like, we're better than the rest of the field.
Yeah. Well, I feel like we were trending in the right direction over the last couple of weeks, obviously, based on the results of the games. Statistically, the attitude, Kellen Grady catching fire the last couple of weeks. Excuse me. Kellen Grady catching fire. We're being led by the 3, transfers in Oscar, Kellen, and Severe. And Darius was supposed to be here tonight, had something come up, so we're going to have him next week to talk about. But I want to, that older guy in the locker room, those elders, if you will, those upperclassmen that we're not used to having here at Kentucky are able to kind of set the precedent, and they've been in those road game situations. They know what it takes to win on the road. And I think, that those two, Oscar being out in the first half and obviously losing Severe for the game is the sole reason. It's not only what they're able to produce on the court, but what they're, able to bring as far as, an attitude and what the energy that they're bringing and the knowledge that they're bringing because of what they've been through in Severe specifically in the SEC. I hope that his injury is not severe. We're going to take a break, and we'll be
I do not approve of that message.
We're going to take a break, and we'll be right back. You're listening to C14. We want to take a moment to tell you about our friends over at Liquid IV. Liquid IV's Hydration Multiplier is a great-tasting daily electrolyte drink mix that utilizes the breakthrough science of cellular transport technology to deliver hydration to the bloodstream faster and more efficiently than water alone. Just add the electrolyte powder to your water and let CTT do the rest. With 3 times the electrolytes of sports drinks, as well as 5 essential vitamins, Liquid IV comes in convenient, travel-friendly, single-serving packets. It is non-GMO with no artificial ingredients and comes in 8 delicious flavors, including lemon lime, pina colada, watermelon, passion fruit, guava, acai berry, apple pie, and my personal favorite, strawberry. So head on over to liquidiv.com. That's liquid-iv.com and plug in code SEAT14 at checkout to enjoy 25% off of your order. Liquid IV, fueling life's adventures. Welcome back to Seat 14 here at Goodfellas Pizzeria in Manchester, Lexington, Kentucky.
Twany's first time.
Twany's first time. He said, yeah, I think I've been here. And then he walked in and was like, oh, this is dope. You ain't been here, bro.
Nah, I've been here. I just haven't had the opportunity to eat into the night.
Enough.
And the pizza is amazing.
It is. It's fantastic. They do a great job here.
Yeah, that's a thick slice.
Especially paired with some William Tarr bourbon, Lexington or Kentucky's own, distilled here in Harrodsburg. So, let's talk football, man. Did you watch the bowl game?
Yes, I watched it.
What a game, dude.
What a game.
So I've had the opportunity to meet and work with Wandell some, a couple of the other guys, but I was shocked when he got here how small he is. And obviously he does not play that way. The man is an absolute beast.
Plays with a lot of heart, man, and a lot of toughness.
He does.
He was tough.
He was playing through some pain. He got rocked on that over the middle route.
Over the middle, yeah. 3rd and 17, something like that.
Got absolutely rocked. Yeah. Held on to the ball. Tough kid. And then, damn near twisted his ACL, jumping over that kid down the sideline when he got us to the 1 before Chris Rodriguez punched it in for that touchdown. But unbelievable performance by our guys. It's.
I think
go ahead.
Wandale, to me, represents a changing of eras in Kentucky football. Because if you can remember, we've never had enough playmakers on one offense for one guy to go take a game over, like the way that he did. Yeah. It used to be, okay, let's gear everything towards Lynn and let Lynn Bowden just go crazy. Yeah. In this game, it wasn't so much that. Wandale's having to find his spots.
Yeah.
And he just so happens to be, in my opinion, an NFL caliber wide receiver.
Oh, he absolutely is.
And, it's Stoops and Vince Morrow have completely changed the complexion of this program.
And Vince just signed a 7-year extension worth a whole hell of a lot of money. Also a fantastic guy. I don't know if you have much of a relationship with him, but we need to get him and you on here together because y'all would chop it up real well. He's a great dude. Happy to have him back for a long time. And Coach Stoops is an investor in William Tarr, so he's part of this program that's helping us put this episode on today and having us here out of Goodfellas. So congratulations to that team on a great win. One of 2 teams in the country that win their last 4 bowl games. Us
the other
and Alabama Crimson Tide.
Yeah. And I also think, what Wandale's doing and what he did transferring back home, I think it opened up a lot of doors for local players here in Louisville and throughout the state. I think, we have a lot of great athletes here. And sometimes, we don't get the recruiting in state that we should get. But I think, Wandale and what he's been able to do coming back home and kind of opening up the floodgates for more players to be able to come here and get put on that national stage like Wandale did.
Yeah.
They used him as a running back
at
Nebraska.
They did. He was very misused.
That's a travesty.
It is very misused. But he found his way here, obviously, and propelled himself into what should end up being some pretty fantastic draft stock. I hope he comes back. I think Will coming back will kind of lean him in that direction.
Well, let me ask you this though. If he comes back, what more can he accomplish?
Natty, baby.
I think we have a legit.
I'm talking about in terms of draft stock. He's the MVP of the Citrus Bowl. He's an all-time leading receptions receiver in his school history. They won 10 games. Like, what else can he do to improve his draft stock? But I don't know. He may have aspirations to win a national championship. I don't know what his personal goals are as far as team accolades, but on a personal level, it's like, what more can he show? He's not going to get any taller.
That's probably true. But with the draft class we have coming in, or the freshman class we have coming in next year, I think we have a pretty good chance to make a run at a big bowl game, if not in the playoffs. Obviously, the SEC is a tough place to be. At least we only got Georgia to deal with on the East, but still, it's a tough place to play. And I don't know. I don't necessarily. I'm not going to pretend to understand the football. The way they break down the draft stock as well as I do basketball. But I would think consistency is part of it too. With the recent changes in the NIL.
That's exactly what I was going to say.
And what Wandale's been able to do this year, and the fact that he's already got clients like Stockton Mortgage and Paul Miller Ford and places like that, he's only going to go up as far as his marketability. I think he's going to stand to make a decent amount of money if he sticks around. The opportunities that all the companies that even our boosters are involved with, as long as we can find a way to legally abide by the guidelines to take care of those guys and their families, I think there's a pretty good incentive for him to make a return, make a push for a bigger bowl game, if not a national championship, and hopefully continue to play at the caliber that he is, and elevate that draft stock before he takes a shot at the draft. I'm not sure. I don't know how. I'm not going to pretend to be as knowledgeable about that.
I saw a headline today where he's the highest graded receiver in the SEC.
It's unbelievable.
I don't know what that means.
I don't either. I saw the same.
I saw that. I don't know how that equates to where you selected in the draft, but that's pretty remarkable.
That's pretty remarkable.
I think you said something important, Todd, that we have to factor in now the NIL money, because it used to be, if this was 5 years ago, there's no question Wandale's gone. It's a poor financial decision for him to not capitalize on his draft stock immediately.
Yeah.
Now he's probably set to make a good amount of money to where that risk is suddenly significantly lower.
It's offset by that.
If he decides that he wants to come back and be the man and potentially make a run at a natty.
Well, the thing about the NIL is it's never going to – the guys that are going to sign shoe deals down the road, basketball, football, whatever the case is, they're still going to get that, right, barring a catastrophic injury. And the NIL just kind of opens up, guys that are, further down the roster, like myself, that might be able to come in and eat a free meal and post something on Instagram, in exchange for that benefit that we were, limited on what we could do. I mean, haircuts, tattoos, all those kind of things can kind of be comped in exchange for promotional opportunities for businesses, small businesses with an athlete. A guy like Wandell, he's going to get his money regardless as long as he's able to stay healthy. Now, obviously, if he gets to come back here, he can be an extreme asset to a lot of these businesses that need marketability because of who he is and what he's able to do and produce on the field. So whatever his decision is, I wish him the best. He's a fantastic kid. He's got a fantastic family. His father, Dale, his sister, all those people. He has a great circle around him. And they're going to advise him well, and he'll make a decision based on what's best for him and his family, as well as everybody else on that roster. But obviously, we'd love to have him back in the Bluegrass.
Absolutely, we would.
Absolutely.
I want to just touch on this real quick. The reason that he's an NFL wide receiver is not because he's going to make those plays like he made against Florida, if y'all remember that, where he just
the screen,
and then he was just gone. Yeah, screen for a touchdown, or like he did at the end of the game, the bowl game. Just making dudes miss. You can't necessarily rely on that in the NFL. But what you pointed out, which is very crucial to his draft stock, he can be a threat over the middle. He can catch that ball and possess it and take a big shot and still hold on to it. That, in my opinion.
And I think he'll be huge in special teams.
Of course.
If he's returning punts or kick return, I think.
Is it Devin Hester?
Yeah.
We got a Devin Hester out there?
Well, that's when you can rely on that open field shiftiness.
Yes. He's incredible in the open field.
Incredible in the open field.
Yeah, but what's going to get him a second contract and what's going to allow him to carve out a name for himself in the league is that possession ability. His ability to catch the ball in traffic,
hang on to the ball,
take a hit, make diving catches. I mean, he's got a bag. He's got a deep bag, and he's probably going to get overlooked just because he's not a physical specimen. And I think a lot of teams are going to make a mistake doing that, personally.
Yeah, well, kind of reminds me, and I don't know if he's as fast as him, but like Tyreek Hill. It's a lot of small guys in the NFL right now. Because a lot of, if you look at the NFL, I'm a huge football guy. If you look at the NFL, the running backs aren't having 19, 20 carries for 150 no more. The game's changed. They're using quick screens to extend the running game. So I think that somebody like him, they could be in a slot and you throw a bunch of screens, and him getting, if it's 4 or 5 yards a pop, that's an extension of the running game.
You average 4 or 5 yards a play, you're going to Hall of Fame.
He's one of those guys though that if he finds the right fit with the right team, he's going to have an unbelievable explosion in his career. One of your guys, switching back to basketball here, switching gears back, was Rondo, right? Growing up in Louisville. Yeah. Rondo is who he is. He became who he was because he found that right niche with Boston early on, right? If he'd ended up in a situation where he wasn't able to utilize his skills.
Any other team, it might not have worked.
He might not have worked.
He had surrounded by a lot of veterans. And then Kevin Garnett was getting traded his second year. And so they Boston cleaned house to bring in the big three.
Yeah.
And Kevin said, I want him.
Yeah. When was Rondo's rookie year? Was it 08?
No, it was 07. I think 07, 08.
And then the next year, so his sophomore season, they won it all. He's a starting point guard.
He didn't play much as a rookie.
And it just propelled him, into an all-star career. I mean, he's been able to build, what he has on that performance in Boston, and it's all because he fit that team and that organization so well. I look at a guy like Tony Delk, who could have been, in my opinion, one of the best point guards ever to play the game with his wingspan, his hands, the way he could shoot the ball. He was fantastic. He never found that niche. He was a journeyman through the NBA and never really found that team that he fit well with. And Rondo was lucky enough and had the work ethic and the perseverance to get through and be successful in his situation.
He had the mentality. You had to be strong-minded to be able to manage relationships with Paul, Ray, and Kevin.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was tough mentally.
Yeah.
It wasn't even some much so about his skill level. He was a point guard. He was able to kind of control the relationships and the dynamic with those three guys.
Yeah.
And it's unbelievable to watch him have a 14, 15-year career for somebody that said he couldn't shoot.
Couldn't shoot. I mean, when we had, I remember having, he's at UK, he's missing free throws and. Wasn't that great of a shooter, and everybody's like, he'll never have an NBA career. But obviously, he found himself in a situation where he was being asked to deliver on those 2 or 3 things that we always talk about. If you're able to do that exceptionally well, you can play the game forever. And he did it.
And he knew himself.
He did. He knew his weaknesses even better than he knew his strengths.
Yep.
And it propelled him into a phenomenal
One thing I can say, and I'm gonna shout out my city, my Louisville.
Go ahead.
We just tough, man. you know what I mean? So guys like him and a lot of guys that come from my city, man, it's a different level of toughness. I'm not saying no other city has guys that are tough, but I'm saying I think that's the reason a lot of us are able to, no matter what the situation is, no matter the circumstance, we're able to propel because of that toughness and how we brought up.
Absolutely.
And Rondo is a epitome of that. Man, I think he's every time he goes on the court, and I've even asked him, he's going to how tough you. He don't care who you are, how better of a skill player you are, your skill set. I'm better than you because I'm mentally better than you.
Yep. He was mind over matter always.
And I have that same mentality.
Yep.
You think he got that from Kevin? You think Kevin helped him?
No. I've been knowing Rajon since he's always had it. He's just a guy. Some people are just born with it. He's always had it. Look at him at Kentucky. I mean, he couldn't shoot. Teams backing up off of him. High school, teams backed off of him. He's scoring 40 and 50 in high school with teams trapping him. And he never shot jump shots.
Yeah.
That's pure mentality.
Yeah.
So,
it's tough to do. It's tough to be that effective.
Great dude, man. Great friend. He's had an unbelievable career. I think he just got traded to Cleveland. So, I think Cleveland's going to be.
Cleveland's dangerous.
Dangerous. Yeah. I think they're going to be a playoff team.
What's that kid's name?
Evan Mobley.
Yeah.
They got the best. He should have been drafted number one.
But he was kind of thin.
I don't care.
No, what I'm saying, I know because Anthony Davis was thin, so it don't mean anything. But I'm saying he was thin, wasn't physical at all.
Yeah.
I don't think he showed what he's doing now in college. I think he showed some tools, but now the NBA is a different game. Yeah. You can kind of play in space.
That's kind of a topic for another episode. How guys will go from college and they have a profile in college that will make you think they'll pan out in the NBA. Then they get to the league and they just start doing shit that you would have never imagined that they were capable
the opposite.
of.
We've had guys that do the opposite, that they go into the league and everybody's like, oh, I think he's only a post player or he's only a shooter. And then, Karl Towns, Devin Booker, we know it firsthand.
Tyler Hero, Tyler Hero, he shot it well. But
they're able to, one thing we do exceptionally well with this program is develop guys, with a skill set that goes much deeper, much beyond what you see on the collegiate floor.
And I was just explaining that to your dad. Your dad was Todd's dad, and I was having a conversation.
Shout out, Bo.
I'm
off camera.
Go ahead.
Nah, I said Todd's dad and I were having a conversation off camera, and I said, listen, man, until you get into a Cal practice and you understand how he goes about it, in my opinion, I think that you would never understand. And I said that's why his players go to the NBA and they do so great because he put those guys in NBA-type situations in practice and in the games to where it's like I transferred from Mississippi State where more so the offense was come down, pass through the big. You have to run a set. Well, Kyle's like, here at 1, 2, and 3, 4 circle. Brandon Knight and T. Jones, y'all isolated on the left side of the court. Then y'all figure it out. It's pick and roll basketball. If the guy goes over the screen, then you're going to continue to go. T. Jones, you roll. You got the dump pass. So you're going to finish. Or you got the guy from the opposite corner comes down in the lane. Then you got the corner three.
Yeah.
You got to read the defense. So if the guy goes under your screen, you better be able to shoot the ball. You know what I'm saying? So, but that's not an X and O's. Yeah. And I think that's where a lot of people.
It's adaptive. It's something you do in the moment.
You have to learn. You have to learn.
People always ask me all the time, and I didn't even mean to get into this, but since I'm going to piggyback it
we're
since you brought
totally
it up.
Weeds now, just to clarify.
Get your foot off my court, bro. Dang.
Come on, man. 13. Sorry. 13, man. I'm sorry.
But a lot of people ask me, how in depth is your playbook, or how deep is your playbook, or how many plays do y'all run? I'm like, it's not that. It's we honestly probably we had 50-something plays, but we probably ran 7, and we just ran adaptations off of those depending on what the defense gave us. There's 300 and whatever 70-something Division I schools. Very few of them actually have an answer for if somebody's going to ice a ball screen or something, right?
Right.
But again, we'll dive into this on an entirely different episode.
We work.
Go ahead. We work on that stuff. But those things are the way that the NBA plays. So college coaches are thinking, how are we going to play at the collegiate level? And Cal's on a whole different playing field. And my dad, much like a lot of other guys that played college back in the 80s and even early 90s, don't see the game the way we do. It's kind of like work. Now that my dad's oh, wait, aren't you going to work? And I'm like, well, I can do more work right here, on my computer, than it's not a go clock in 40 hours a week type thing anymore. Basketball's changed just as much. It's an entirely different game. Cal's playing, light years ahead, much like a lot of other coaches of his caliber, just because they're coaching in a way that they're developing guys for the league. And the league has just played at such a different dynamic. That's why his guys are so well prepared once they get there. But we've talked about doing a little sidebar of a show where we dive into some film breakdown stuff so we can kind of analyze that in a little deeper level. So we'll get into that. But as always, thank you for coming on. Appreciate having you. You're welcome anytime. We're going to have Twany back with a couple of his former teammates as they become available moving forward in the next couple of weeks. Obviously, COVID's a bit of a hang-up right now. We've been going through the holidays as well, so we'll get some of those guys on as we move forward. But thanks for coming back again,
sir,
and we'll see you soon. We're going to take another break. You're listening to Seat 14.
La Terrain is a designer watch company that believes in focusing on family first. We put substance over flash, value over marketing, and the customer over profit. So we want to offer a special deal to you for being part of the Seat 14 family. Visit our website at lawterrain.com. That's LA-TOURAINE.com. And mention code SEAT14 to get our most popular watch, a $200 value for just $75. See another watch you love? Just message us on Twitter and mention SEAT14. We will make an offer just for you. From our family to yours, La Terrain.
Welcome back to Seat 14. We have a special guest here tonight, special guest host, I should say. We weren't able to get the better half of the Lee and Haley show, so we settled for the lesser half in Lee Cruz. Welcome to the show.
How far has my career fallen?
Oh, no.
That I'm sitting here with guys who couldn't actually make the team. Just a guy, Seat 14.
Seat 14, man. 13 scholarship
Was that
players.
actually on the bench, or where
it was close.
That?
It was like the third row. I mean, it was close enough,
Yeah.
right? It was more than I could afford to have actually spent to sit there. That's fair.
Am I the only professional you've had on this show?
I think maybe so. We had a Maria Montgomery do a little guest spot.
Yeah, be careful how you say she's professional.
That's what I'm saying. She's
telling you.
Yeah, she's thinks of herself a certain way.
Mm-hmm.
You know how they can get.
I don't know. Actually, I don't know anything about that.
Speaking of me as a professional, I want to say some of my core memories from my childhood involved me waking up at my grandma's house before school and seeing you in some,
So what he's trying to tell you is I used to have this hot, torrid love affair with his grandmother.
Precisely.
And it was embarrassing because he would find me and his grandmother in a
every morning
intimate moment.
I really hope she doesn't listen to this.
Eric, I know what you need. You need some more.
I need some of that.
William Tarr.
I love William Tarr,
Hey,
by the way.
they're absolutely killing
If you
it
haven't
right now.
tried these guys yet, you need to get on board because it's some of the best Kentucky has to offer.
They are fantastic. Here, I'll let you pour yourself there.
Thank you. I got a bottle of the 12-year-old in my office, and it is absolutely delicious.
Yeah, they've done a fantastic job. We talked to Barry earlier in the first segment, who is a representative from them and a owner, and has done a fantastic job. Even the labeling is great. Their marketability has been great.
Yeah, it's crisp.
But a fantastic, one of my favorite mash bills.
I think they may change the label soon.
They might have a special one coming out.
I heard about that. But then even a different design may be on its way.
It would be very exciting to see a change. But I know the Citrus Bowl, which you were there for.
I was there.
I know they got a label coming for that. So tell us a little bit about that experience. What was it like? I mean, first off, I was watching the game with Maria on the couch at home in 50-degree weather. Well, it was like 70 in the morning, and then it was like 20 at night in Kentucky, as it typically is. But it said the on-field temperature was 110.
Yeah, well, I guess because the breeze was
skewed.
blocked
Yeah, it's
down.
skewed.
But where we were, it was
the nosebleeds.
No, we were just in the media section, but it was like 82 with a very gentle, warm breeze. It was perfect football weather.
It looked spectacular. Your legs looked fantastic in shorts as well. Absolutely. I see you cleaned them up real nice.
Yeah, waxing.
Got them all. Yeah,
a lot of waxing.
Yeah, that was good. Where do you go in town for your waxing?
Well, actually, there's a guy behind the building.
Oh, okay.
He does it.
Lee's
for
got
me.
a guy.
I got a guy. Yeah.
That caught me off guard. He's behind the building, you said.
He's just behind this building.
Okay.
Yeah. The first time, let me tell you, Todd, the first time I got waxed, I wasn't planning on it.
I bet.
But you know what? I fell in love with it afterwards. I'm like, you know what? I'm going to go see that fella again.
That's so. Did he pay you or did you pay him?
Well, I now pay him.
Okay.
Yeah.
Good. But the first time.
Well, the first time was an assault.
Oh, okay.
You know.
Yeah. Well,
The final segment of this podcast is officially in a free fall.
it's amazing. It's absolutely. What is that line from? I'm in a tailspin. I'm headed out to sea.
Who knows?
I'm in a tailspin, and I'm headed out to sea.
We do movie quotes at the
Right. It's Finding Nemo.
It's not Finding Nemo, but that was
Great
a
movie.
good guess.
Great movie.
All right.
Okay.
It was your Halloween costume. Actually, you said it.
Top Gun.
Yeah, but you said it. Your Halloween who you were for Halloween.
Maverick.
Correct. Cheers. Well
Cheers
done.
to that.
Let's not spell
Okay.
that on my MacBook.
Cheers,
though.
buddy.
All right. Let's talk
Okay.
about things that actually matter.
Let's talk about basketball. So this is a basketball podcast. You have a tidbit of information you want to throw
I
at
have
us.
news.
All right, let's
I
hear
have
it.
news. All right.
Breaking? Is it going to be breaking in the morning or is it breaking right now?
It's breaking now. It's breaking.
Okay, so we're about 6 hours away from when it'll be released.
Yeah. So, highly touted recruit Shaden Sharp participated in his first individual workout today for Kentucky.
There we go.
Jeff Drummond says he's not ready to practice with the team. Needs some more individual work to see where he's at. No games anytime soon, but it looks like he's grown and might be standing at about 6'6" now.
Do we know? We don't know. We don't have a speculative timeline here.
No.
Okay.
No, I'm sure they're being very vague about that.
Well, yeah, they're going to keep it under wraps. We'll do what we can. We'll see what we can do.
So now this kid is ready to play?
He just got on campus yesterday. He
So-
got on campus yesterday.
It's a second semester kind of situation?
Yeah,
Why
it
was he not
appears-
eligible the first semester?
He reclassified, correct?
Oh. So he's a high school kid, right?
Correct.
He's a high school kid?
reclassified?
Yes, he
Yeah,
reclassified.
okay.
Yeah, so we're so I believe the way that we never know these days. It's all just
Right.
the wild, wild west. But I believe the way the rules are written, he should be able to be eligible.
Theoretically, he could play this season.
Theoretically,
So what position does this kid play?
he's
a lead guard.
Yeah, he's yeah.
He's a 1 or a 2?
He's a lead guard. He wants the ball in his hands, but he has passing ability.
he'll play the 2 or the 3 for us.
Okay.
But obviously it'll muck up our lineup a little bit. Really, I mean, with the way that we play offense specifically, defensively we're a little bit more dynamic, but offensively the guys kind of fit into the 4-5 role, 2-3 role, or the 1. The 2
Right.
and the 3 are very what's the word I'm looking for? Interchangeable.
Sure.
And the 4 and 5 are the same. Whereas opposed to 10 years ago, 5's back to the basket kind of guy. Obviously, it's a much different perspective this year, especially in today's era of basketball, especially with the way Cal runs offense. So he can kind of step in there and play a flurry of different
Utilitarian.
positions for it. Yeah, that's
I
a good
like
word
it.
Well,
for
theoretically, he would just be by far the best player.
He's
and
pretty.
just put the best.
He's pretty
the ball in
damn
your
good.
best player.
Really?
He's pretty damn good.
So this
He's
kid's got a
the-
draft pick.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
Oh, yeah.
He's the unanimous best player in his whole class.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah. He's pretty damn good.
unanimous.
So we're just going to have him for a semester, I assume,
Yes.
and then we lose him.
Yes.
Yeah.
Probably.
He's that good.
Tentative, yes.
Well, I mean,
Tentative.
if he's that good and he can go to the league and a
Yeah.
top 10 draft pick or whatever
Yeah.
you guys think he can do, sure.
Yeah, he's pretty fantastic. He's
Okay.
pretty fantastic.
Right.
So we got, we had a tough loss. I don't know how. I know you were traveling and.
No, I watched the game. I saw
I
it.
know, but I know you've been busy. So we're coming off of a pretty bad finish, to say the least. Definitely shouldn't have lost on the road. But a terrible closeout to the final few minutes of that game, mostly because we didn't have Severe on the sideline or
Right.
on the floor. I'm
You
sorry.
had no leader.
Yeah, he's prayers up. Hopefully he's okay.
What
But
do we think that is? Concussion?
I think concussion. But he also got
Speculatively.
whiplash pretty bad. So
Yeah.
they say day to day he's going to play against Georgia. He transferred from Georgia, and we have
Yeah.
Georgia on Saturday.
He's motivated.
He's going to play.
Do that, sure.
He'll play no matter what it takes. I have no doubt. So
So
as long as he passes concussion protocol.
Yeah. Like Lee said, no leader. The one stat that perfectly encapsulates that lack of a leader, from about the 13.5-minute mark until about the 1.5-minute mark in the second half, Kentucky scored 3 points.
No distribution. So you got you don't have anybody to run the offense.
Well, I mean, there's no floor general, and Kellen Grady didn't take a shot in the last, what?
Right.
Yeah.
How many minutes was it?
To close out the whole game.
13 minutes, I think?
Yeah.
But if you don't have a guy to come down, set it up, set the offense where he can come off a screen or do whatever he's got to do to get free.
Yeah.
No, if nobody's used to that position, it's not going to happen.
Yeah.
Just nerves take over.
Yeah, I know.
When you're trying to handle a ball and you got a defender of an SEC qualifier that is, going to disrupt.
Yep, and they're the best defensive team in the conference, maybe possibly in the country.
Possibly.
And they're we talked about this with Twany, but Will Wade is a product of Shaka Smart, who is a defensive-minded coach, and that's their whole thing. They go out to muck up your offense. They're not trying to beat you at their game. They're trying to take you out of yours.
I like that, by the way.
It's great, except it makes it for a very, like you said, you texted me during the game and this is a very weird game. Weird is the only word you can really think to describe it because they were so disruptive, which was a fantastic way to put it.
I like what Lee said, that nerves just take over. Like, we had guys who are –
That's freshmen, man. That's freshmen.
But – we didn't have freshmen out there.
Other than Kellen. We had Oscar was in foul trouble. He played most of the second half. Davion should have been poised.
And these guys are career basketball players in college. 2,000-point scores. We've been over all of it.
But to his point, the anxiety level starts to rise.
Yeah.
If you're Oscar, for instance, and now you know where you can trust Severe to get the ball to you, or to at least advance the ball to make the extra pass to where you know you're going to be free or available, or you're going to get the rebound. All of that is gone.
Yeah.
It's all flushed.
Yep.
And you don't have that.
And Oscar got that stop with, don't quote me on this, 30-something seconds left after that stop, and throws the ball away to Davion because he just kind of launched it.
Thank God we had Davion, though.
Yeah, and, I mean, he's poised, and he did his best. He tried to will us to a victory.
Yeah,
but
he didn't get shook as much as the other guys.
No, he didn't at all.
Yeah.
And we looked shook.
Yeah, we
to
did.
clarify, we looked shook.
Yeah,
Ty airballed a floater from about 3 feet away from the basket.
Yeah.
These are things that I don't know if it's the road environment. I don't know if it's the lack of the leader to keep everyone poised, but we looked shook.
Yeah. And I'll say this.
Let me ask this question about, because you were there watching guys much younger than you continue to play while you sat there on seat 13.
Comfortably.
But when you go into a hostile environment, and as Calipari would always describe, it's everyone's Super Bowl. When you get in that first environment for a freshman, was there an impact?
Oh, yeah.
Could you feel it? Could you see your teammates
absolutely
shook?
Yeah. Think about the first game of the season. We always start the season off with the Champions Classic. We're on the road in an NBA arena, whether it's Atlanta or Brooklyn or wherever. I mean, where else do we play? Chicago.
Right.
I think we played it a couple times in Chicago.
But those are neutral sites.
They're neutral sites, but it's an NBA arena, Madison Square Garden.
It's a big event.
You're playing against the best coaches, the best teams in the country. You got Kansas, Duke, or Michigan State.
Level, quality of talent, big stage. I get it, but there's got to be a difference between that and going on the road. To an SEC school.
No. Okay, I misunderstood your question.
Now they are coming at you. And they hate you with a passion.
Yes.
And it's like, why are you so mad, bro?
So, yes, you can obviously see that.
Because they don't know the history of Kentucky basketball. A lot of times these kids that come here, they don't understand.
They don't. And then you see them in the same environment against a Louisville, where you've got that rivalry that they don't quite understand. They might think they do. I mean, we think we understand North Carolina-Duke rivalry, right? But you thrust an 18-year-old kid into that environment that hasn't been experienced that, and there's lessons to be learned, and it happens pretty quickly. First off,
watch this. By the way, watch this. Since I know this, we taped today, but this airs tomorrow. I want to say happy birthday to my fella Tyler Eulis.
Yeah, that's right.
He knew about the Louisville rivalry.
That's right. He did.
bit into it right away.
That's right. He did. Got that. That scar to prove it too. But all jokes aside, you don't appreciate, like, the refs are going to swallow their whistle, right?
Yeah.
Those lights are brighter than ever. I'll even go so far as to say, so my coolest experience at UK, and I'm kind of getting off track a little bit here, but the coolest experience I had at UK that I can remember outside of the championship or tournament games and things was when we played at Louisville the first time. It was one of the first games in the Yum Center. Kentucky's on the road. It was the NIT year, so we had Nerlens Noel, Willie Cauley-Stein, Alex Poitras, those guys, Archie Goodwin. And they played, who's going to run this town tonight? Brianna. at the before the tip. So we did. It was a CBS game. CBS is notorious for having long timeouts, long TV timeouts.
Right.
They did the intros, and then while we're doing the pregame huddle and they're waiting for the tip, we're waiting on the TVs to come back from a commercial break. So the starting lineups are out there on the floor waiting to throw the ball up, and they're playing Who's Going to Run This Town Tonight. And it went on for like 3 minutes through this song, and the arena was just pulsing. And I remember sitting there as a freshman. Willie's a freshman in the starting lineup. Alex is a freshman in the starting lineup. Nerlens is a freshman in the starting lineup. And I'm looking out here, Archie, and I'm like, we're number one in the country, on the road, an hour, 50 minutes away.
Right.
They're playing this song, right? The arena's pulsing. You could literally feel it, like, and they're looking up, like looking around. And I'm like, man, their last real game on the road was in high school.
Right.
And you think about that. And then,
Right.
and you can extrapolate that to all the different instances where we've had very few road games in this situation. Now, granted, LSU isn't what that was for us. I mean, that we hadn't played at that stage in the season that year, hadn't played an SEC game. So because it was the Louisville game around Christmas, so that was our first true road game, and it was outside the SEC, but it's a rivalry. The Louisville game this year, which obviously was canceled, but would have been at home. So this was the first real
Right.
test like that. It's the first time they got to taste that.
And then you lose your leader.
Exactly. And you lose your point guard. I stand by Cal and his philosophy on not calling a timeout to let the defense get set late in the game. I think, and I know that he said in his postgame he was trying to call a timeout. I think that this was a bit of a different instance. We didn't have a point guard. Oscar had just gotten a stop, and we're down 1 point with, two possessions left on the shot clock max. That's a situation where I know he wishes he could have had that back and got that timeout called, and the refs had gotten to see him so we could draw something up, because if we're able to silence the crowd out of that timeout and score and take the lead against a team that struggles to put the ball in the basket, I think we have a different result at the finish of that game. But they got us scrambled, and that's their point. That's, again, their job is to disrupt. The Will Wade coaching strategy is disrupt what we're trying to do, and in this instance it worked.
Do we see those guys at Rupp?
Do we?
I don't know.
I don't
Let me
either,
check.
because they're a West
Let me check. I don't think we
conference,
do.
right? So I don't know that we do.
I'm pretty sure we do not.
Yeah.
But let me check.
Yeah, maybe we see them. The
Y'all
SEC
find something to
tournament.
talk about in the meantime.
We played Tennessee twice.
They're in the East.
They're in the East. Sure, yeah.
Yeah, true.
No, we don't.
Yeah, so that was our one shot at
Yeah, we don't.
LSU. That's all right.
That's all right. Georgia's a tough place to play, too.
Yeah.
And we're at Georgia at 6 o'clock on Saturday, and then 7 o'clock. No, I'm sorry. Georgia's here Saturday. I'm sorry. Georgia's here at Vandy on Tuesday.
That's right.
6 o'clock at home against Georgia, at Vandy on Tuesday at 7. And we'll have another episode before that.
That should be a grand total of about 60 points that we win.
We
between
should.
the two of those
We
games.
should. I think we'll respond well, and I think Severe will play. I think he'll be fine. I think we'll bounce back. I think we're good. Those are some, we talked with Twany a little bit about that, but those are some of those shots that, that's a learning lesson. We're not going to make those same mistakes again down the road. And if it takes losing that game now to be able to not handle an end-of-game situation the same way in March, fine. I don't believe that there's a such thing as a good loss like you do, in the same way that you do, at least. But there's lessons to be learned from losing a game like that. I don't think we make those mistakes again, and we'll be fine. What do you think?
Well, it depends on the injury.
Depends on the what?
On the injury.
Well, injury, that's different. That's different.
Labeled
obviously
day-to-day, so
obviously,
it's nothing too
obviously injury.
serious.
I'm saying
that's
though.
what I mean, though.
Yeah.
I don't know how you recover from that when a key player is removed from the from the environment.
No excuses there. If we lose Oscar, we're pretty screwed.
Right.
Against pretty much anybody. He's the catalyst that keeps us moving forward. He's rebounding 25% offensive rebounding efficiency.
That's
which means, like,
insane.
if you're a shooter, if you're killing Grady and you're taking a shot out of the corner, there's a 25% chance you're going to get the ball back if you miss.
Right.
You know what that does for your confidence?
Sure.
To make that shot?
Oh,
Game
yeah.
changer.
Yeah.
And then he's leading the country in every statistical category except what? Defensive rebounding percentage. I think he's 5th. Everything else he's leading rebounding percentage nationwide.
I was a leading rebounder in the Henry Clay game.
Oh, were you?
For the Nicholas County Blue Jays. I mean, they smoked us by 40.
So you understand that.
I understand
Yeah, you know what it
Oscar's
feels like.
thinking.
Like how
And what
you-
it feels like.
what it feels like
I played
to be-
against
yeah.
Sean Sutton. I don't know if you remember that.
I
You're
do,
too
yeah.
young. But, yeah. So I was interchangeable between a 1 and a 5.
There you go. You get it. You get it.
That's true defensive versus.
Oh, yeah.
That's what
People didn't know what was happening when I would post up. They didn't, why is he doing this?
Hey, I can see how it would throw the Swiss Army. That's a good nickname, Lee Cruz, the Swiss Army knife. I like that.
Right.
But yeah, so we're gonna. I think we're gonna bounce out of here unless you want to do another. You want to get another little sip there on our way out?
Why not? I mean,
go ahead, pour it up. We'll finish up after we get done here.
The show doesn't pay
I'm gonna let
anything.
you. I'm gonna. He's not wrong. You get some pizza and some bourbon out of it. We'll take that.
And I love the pizza.
All right, I'm gonna let you. I'm gonna let you sign us off here.
No, I got to read this.
Co-host. I'm gonna let you sign us off.
All right.
He's host.
Right here. Host. He's the captain now. He's the captain now.
All right, so today's episode of Seat 14 was brought to you, as always, by Bet Rivers Sportsbook in association with Liquid IV Hydration. Multiplier.
Liquid IV Hydration Multiplier.
Oh, that's the same company?
Yes, which you're going to need one of in the morning.
Oh, so that helps with the hangover is what you're suggesting.
Does,
okay,
yes.
All right. So Liquid IV Hydration Multiplier. Goodfellas Pizzeria and RD1 Spirits. For the Field of 68, thank you for listening. I'm Lee Cruz alongside Todd Lanner and Jordan Barber.
And your favorite movie quote.
And what's your favorite movie quote?
Say when.
Now. Oh, say when?
Yeah, what's that from? And you got to say it with a Georgia accent, and I'm a dentist who's saying it. I was a dentist, but I had I had to leave. No, listen to me.
Okay.
So I'll say it again.
Okay.
Say when. So now I was a dentist, and then I had to move west because I got tuberculosis.
What?
How old is this movie?
This is like a 1950s movie.
No, 1950s. What's wrong with you kids?
How old is the movie?
It's like 93 or something.
Hey, Dad, come here. Movie quote. Say it again.
Say when.
Say when. Movie quote. Say when. Dentist moved west with tuberculosis. Yeah. See?
Well, if Bo don't know, then
Bo knows. Huh? I'm going to look it up.
All right, look it up. I can give you more clues.
Okay, give me more clues.
he can just tell us.
Give me more clues.
Well, all right. So he went west. He went to Arizona, where he ran into his old buddy, who was a former lawman, who needed his help at the OK Corral.
What? I have no idea what you're talking
What's the movie,
What is
Lee? We
wrong
gotta go.
with you guys? The movie is Tombstone, and it's it's Doc Holliday, and before a shootout begins with Johnny Ringo, he says, "Say when."
Say when.
And he was a gentleman.
All right, guys.
All right, thanks. That'll do us here. Do it for us here at C14.
Jordan.
Appreciate you, Lee Cruz.
Thanks, Lee.
Thank
Good
you,
to see you,
Twany.
boys.
Thank you, Barry. Thank you, RD1 Spirits. Thank you, Goodfellas. And we'll be back next week with a brand new episode. Thanks for sticking with us.
We out.